Practice the pause. Pause before assuming. Pause before reacting. Pause before speaking. Practice the pause. We live in a world of immediacy, but sometimes, well, most times, immediacy isn't the answer. There is strength in taking the pause. Before you assume, take the pause. What else could this be? Why else is he behaving this way? What is she really doing? Practice the pause. Before you react, take the pause. Is this response going to be productive? Is there a better way that I could react? How could I respond from a place of peace? Practice the pause. Before you speak, take the pause. Is this kind? Is this helpful? Is this warranted? Are my words supportive? Are my words authentic? Practice the pause. Is this who I want to be? Is this how I want to be seen? Is this how I want to react? We can't control what our day brings, but we can control how we respond to it. So always take the pause.
Hey guys, it's Jen. This is another episode of Reframing Me. In today's conversation, we're going to kind of revisit a topic that we covered a few months ago, but we're going to sprinkle in a little something to keep it new and fresh. So yesterday, my middle, he texted me from school. He was upset because he had gotten a super low grade on his pre-calc quiz. Now, I should add that this kid is crazy smart, like super smart. He always tests well above his grade level, but most significantly, he is definitely the one of mine who is most focused on grades and on doing well in school. And where my others, they get A's, they're totally fine with sliding by with that 90.01% A. Well, he is disappointed if he ever sees his grade fall to even like a 96% A for like a minute. Anyway, his pre-calc quiz was shockingly low, like for anybody's standards. And so he was obviously upset. I helped him to write an email to his teacher asking him for some guidance, and I basically just talked him off the ledge. Then later in the day, I get a text that he's upset because he lost his AirPod. He's like, I don't know what happened. So-and-so asked me a question, so I took it out, and I just don't know where it went. And then later on in the day, I don't know what's wrong with me today. I got a terrible grade on my English quiz. I thought I understand that too. I try so hard. I don't know what's wrong. Everything is a mess. And now I need to go play a football game in the rain. Today is just so bad. So I talked him off the ledge yet again. And I explained to him that he was stuck in a negative loop and that he just needed to get himself out of it. Like attracts like. Negative attracts negative. He needed to change his frequency. Well, fast forward, and his math teacher let him redo the quiz. I guess everybody did bad on English, so their teacher gave them something else to do to make up for it. The rain stopped before the football game, and lo and behold, even his missing AirPod turned up in his pocket where it had been after all. Hallelujah. Well, it made me realize that I needed to revisit, and so we needed to revisit the law of resonance because it really is one of my favorite concepts. And going back and listening to that episode from a few months ago, it solidified to me how amazing this entire concept is. Changing your frequency can truly change your life and your relationships. Like attracts like. But before we revisit our conversation on the law of resonance, I wanted to sprinkle in something new to make it even more special. The as if principle. This isn't a new idea. I mean, it's the central focus in the book, The Power of Positive Thinking, tons of tons of psychology pieces on it, lots of TED Talks, you name it. And of course, I can't forget the movie Clueless, as if. It's a super simple concept. I mean, it's not easy, but simple nonetheless. Just act as if. Act as if you're successful and you'll be successful. Act as if you're happy and you'll be happy. Act as if you're confident and you'll be confident. Act as if. If you act as if you can, you will find out that yes, you can. It's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Like smiling. If you smile, you can make yourself happy, which is different, of course, to feeling like you need to be happy first in order to smile. Act as if people like you, and people will like you. There's even a type of therapy called Alderian therapy that helps people gain self-confidence or get over like self-defeating views. It has adults remember what it was like when we used to play make believe when we were little. Remember, we used to act as if, you were a doctor or an astronaut or a superhero or a mom or a movie star. Whatever. Remember? Like when you did it, you had no doubt in those moments that you actually were that person. I mean, I know that I was forever in front of a mirror doing interviews on talk shows because I was a TV star in my head. I mean, Alyssa Milano, she had nothing on me. Well, according to Dr. Alderan and others, when you begin to act differently, you also begin to feel differently. And you even become different. I mean, obviously, like we talked about with manifestation, and I'll link the manifestation episodes in the show notes because they're super far back. But like we said with manifestation, you can't just put it out there and voila, it just happens. No, you also need to put in the work. But if you act as if your dream or your goal is already a part of your life, like you already truly feel as if it's happening or it's happened, then you're totally increasing the chances that it will actually happen. A big part of acting as if is the fact that you need a clarity of your vision. You need to know exactly what you are acting as if. Like, are you acting as if you are a successful business owner? Or acting as if you are the kind of mom who your kids are happy to talk to or to spend time with? Or are you acting as if you are confident giving a presentation? Or acting as if you are enjoying the fact that your kids are teenagers. Whatever it is, you need to be clear in what your goals and dreams are, and then consider what kind of person would actually have already made it there. And then you simply act as if you were that person. So if you want to, okay, so I'm going to say lose 40 pounds, but as a total aside, if you are going on a fitness journey, please know that weight in pounds is completely irrelevant, like 100% meaningless. First of all, you can be any weight and be either fit or unfit, heavy or light. The poundage outside of a general benchmark is just irrelevant. Muscle weighs more. So like I weigh probably 10 to 15 pounds more than I did when I was wearing the same size clothes, but not lifting weights, if that makes sense. But anyway, if you want to be fit and healthy, act as if you are the person who is fit and healthy. So what would someone who is fit and healthy eat? Would they eat that? Yes. Then go for it. No? Okay, then what would she eat? Eat that. Would someone who is fit and healthy get up an hour earlier to work out? Probably. So do it. Act as if. If you want your teens to open up and to talk to you, would the mom whose teens open up to them judge their clothes? Would she lecture them for leaving their dishes on the counter? Would she ask about their plans in an inquisitive, interested way? Or would she ask about them in an interrogation way? Would she choose that battle to fight, that hill to die on? Whatever your goal, just act as if. Practice the pause and think, how would she behave? How would she respond? What would she do? Embody her and act as if. Like attracts like. So let's continue this conversation by revisiting the law of resonance.
Resonance is a foundational premise of the universe. And I'm going to pull out my old woo-woo Gen to see how we can use this actual scientific principle to help our lives and our relationships. Now, you may remember back in the I Will Survive episode, I mentioned my one single solitary scholastic failure in life, my big fat C in astronomy. I'm not a STEM girl for sure. There are no hard sciences for me. I am definitely much more comfortable living in the social sciences. And, realistically, I think from what I know about other researchers and academics like myself, I know that most people tend to live on one side of the hard science or social science spectrum and are very uncomfortable on the other side. I know a lot of medical doctors and scientists who are equally uncomfortable with interpersonal communication and human psychology as I am with physics and astronomy. So we all have our strong suits. Everybody has to be good at something and everybody can't be good at everything. So I am okay with that. Well, when I find a concept that intersects the hard sciences and the social sciences, as well as overlapping with the spiritual too, well, that is just the trifecta for me. So today we're going to have a conversation about the concept of resonance that is derived from the hard sciences, understood in the more spiritual, and we're going to apply it into the social sciences. Pretty amazing, right? I mean, it's 100% groundbreaking. So resonance in physics, and I do need to put my disclaimer out there yet one more time. This is like a super simplified explanation. Seriously, the PBS Kids version, because remember, C in astronomy. Who knew astronomy was so much physics? Because obviously I did not. Anyway, in physics, resonance is defined as a phenomenon where frequencies vibrate together on the same wavelength. According to quantum mechanics, the universe is vibratory energy that is interacting as frequencies of light and sound. So, all objects, mechanical systems, any charged particles, everything vibrates at its own specific frequency. And that frequency is called its resonant frequency. But when a light wave or a sound wave hits the object, if two objects are vibrating at the same frequency, then it increases the amplitude of that object's vibration. So, for an example, we have a swing in our yard, okay? And like a swing does, it moves forwards and backwards when you push it. And I know that when my kids were small, I spent a ton of time pushing them on the swing, and I'm sure that you did too. So this does make sense. If I were to give the swing a series of regular pushes, it builds up motion. And if I do that, I need to sync up my pushes to the swing's timing. And that makes the swing's motion increase in amplitude and go higher. Once the swing reaches its natural frequency, I only need to give it that gentle push to maintain the amplitude because of resonance. But If I'm not giving the series of regular pushes, or if I am, and then say I look down at my phone and I'm not paying attention, and so I give it an irregular push, the swing isn't going to vibrate, right? And now it'll be out of sync. So we won't have resonance and the swing will not go up any higher. So our resonance is basically the same concept of that. The law of resonance is one of the main principles that the universe functions on. The frequency of any material object, of our thoughts, our emotions, and even our experiences, each possess a unique frequency and will attract similar things in the outside world that vibrate at the same frequency. You know how sometimes you have those days where you wake up and something puts you in a bad mood? Maybe it's something simple like waking up late or running out of coffee. And then from there, it just snowballs. Like everything that can go wrong does. And the day becomes a total shit show. How does everyone manage to annoy me on the same day? Or how can I possibly forget so many things on the same day? Or how can I possibly be late to so many things or run out of so many things all on the same damn day? Okay. It's like you feel like the world, the universe is just testing you. I know once in a while, my husband, who I'm not 100% sure even knows his astrological sign, he's a Gemini, but he doesn't know that. I don't know if he does. He'll call me and say, "Did you read my horoscope today? Because I'm sure it probably said, don't go outside, don't speak to anyone, don't do anything because everything is going to go wrong." Well, according to Albert Einstein, like attracts like. So, when you are nurturing low frequency emotional states like anger, frustration, envy, sadness, or other kinds of negative feelings, guess what? Your external reality will attract experiences that will only intensify those feelings. Which this is also why on other days you just can't lose. You have those days where all of the traffic lights are green and your hair is perfect. You had a great workout. Your kids were good. No one at work bugged you. It's all sunshine and rainbows. When you are nurturing high frequency emotional states like joy, peace, gratitude, your external reality gives you the experiences that intensify those feelings. Like attracts like. And Albert Einstein obviously understood physics much more than I do. It's okay. So, the best way that I can understand it is like if you have a radio station inside of you and you are in the mood for some 90s hip hop, because when aren't we in the mood for some 90s hip hop? So, you change that radio station frequency to the 90s hip hop channel. But instead, you want to feel cool and down with the cool kids. And so maybe you put on that crazy TikTok radio station. By switching your internal frequency, you can find the music that you like or crave. So when you woke up late, you tuned into that low emotional state. All that you saw and attracted were experiences and thoughts of the same low emotional frequency, like attracts like. So, if instead you switch to high energy thoughts and emotions that make your heart happy, your external reality is going to shift to match it. Now, in case anyone is starting to think, yep, here she is, woo woo Jen Jen, we haven't seen her in a few weeks, she's back. Well, let me cite my source on this one, okay? According to, let me get this, the National Center for Biotechnology Information, in the National Library of Medicine, for the National Institute of Health of the United States of America. That's a big sciencey site, right? Well, according to their studies, and I quote here, life is a learning experience. By redirecting our focus, we bring about a new course of events into focus while releasing an existing course of events that may not serve us any longer. And this same study found that human DNA plays an important role in communicating with everything that happens in the outside world and communicates with the resonance of other people or objects. These actual scientists connected that when a person is sad, lonely, angry, hostile, without love, or feels that life is meaningless, they are a prime candidate for illness and death. Crazy, right? This may make you remember back to our episodes on manifesting. And if you haven't yet listened, go back and listen to the Jenna Zen episode on manifestation and the Manifest That Shit episode from the way back. They're both really good. But yes, this definitely gives off manifesting vibes, 100%. Manifesting is based on the law of attraction. We manifest the reality we want by visualizing or identifying or naming the life of our dreams. And then we add in the work to get there, and voila, we manifest it into reality. Well, yes, it's totally similar. But the primary difference between the two concepts is that in the law of attraction, we visualize what we want in our thoughts, and it comes from a place of lacking because we don't have it and we want it. Okay. In the law of resonance, we instead embody the feeling of what we want in our identity, and it comes from a place of fulfillment and acceptance. Now, remember, following what we said about resonance, like attracts like, and we attract what we are. Your external reality of the universe gives you what you are, your actual identity, not your thoughts. So, referring back again to our episodes on manifesting, we said that we manifest what we want and then put in the work to get there. That's it, right there. Putting in the work to get there. You're embodying the behavior and the emotional state to get where you want to be. My daughter, she finishes up 8th grade soon next month. Hallelujah. Praise Jesus. We are so very close to wrapping this baby up. Anyway, she's headed to the same high school that my boys are at, and she is beyond excited. She has been saying for probably 2 years now, since maybe even more, since the boys or since one of them's been playing football, she's been saying that she wanted to be a cheerleader for the school. She cheered in middle school, but that was a small Catholic school, not a 2,000 person high school. So this is a whole different ballgame. Everything's a whole different ballgame here. Well, okay, so tryouts were last week, and trying out for anything is horribly stressful for like everyone involved, for her, for me, for my husband, for the boys, even for my parents, all of us, because as I constantly am preaching, our families are systems and parts are interdependent, which means that what affects one person impacts all of us. So it has been a long week. Anyway, for the last number of weeks, she has been stretching and working on her skills and her strength, putting in the work. Then she was practicing the specific cheer and the dance and the fight song that they had to learn. She put in the work. She manifested that she wanted to be a Hoggard cheerleader, and she put in the work. The final piece of this was when I could tell that she was nervous going into this completely new group and completely new environment, or when she was doubting herself or unsure if she measured up. I kept asking her, how would a Hoggard cheerleader behave? What would she do? How would she act? Would a Hoggard cheerleader get her splits and her jumps good? Would a Hoggard cheerleader lie and watch TikTok on the couch? Or would she get up and she go practice? How would a Hoggard cheerleader walk into the room? How would she behave before and during and after the cheer? Whatever you come up with these answers, I would tell her, whatever that is, do that. Basically, I was telling her to set her frequency to Hoggard cheerleader frequency. She did, and she made the team. So she embodied the behavior and the emotional state of where she wanted to be. Like attracts like. It's the law of resonance. We've said for months now, we want to attract abundance and find our purpose. We want to make our lives better, our families function higher, and our relationships stronger. But if we are operating in a low emotional frequency state, we continue to feel directionless or unmotivated or unhappy. We might be envious of people around us who have better jobs or houses or who have happier relationships with their husbands and teens. Well, like attracts like. So, what if we were to turn the channel? Change our frequency to embody what and who we want to be. Move into those high frequency thoughts and emotions. Create it. Embody the person you want to be, the life you want to have, the relationships that you want. Like attracts like. What will attract what you want? By nurturing the high frequency emotions like joy and peace and gratitude and love, our external reality gives us experience that's only intensify those feelings. Experiences that make us even more joyful, more peaceful, and bring us even more gratitude and more love. So, how do we do this? How do we shift our frequency? First, you need to realize that you actually do have the power to do this. And that's the single most important aspect. You have the power to decide how you will feel, how you will greet your day, how you will greet the events and the people in your day. You cannot control what events are going to happen. You cannot control how others around you are going to behave. You cannot control if your boss takes credit for your idea, or if a coworker slacks off, or if your husband forgets to do what you asked him to do, or if your teens give you attitude, or if your car gets a flat tire, or if you spill coffee on your shirt. You can't control what happens, but you can control how you respond to these situations. Practice the pause. Pause before you assume. Pause before you react. Pause before you speak. We have the power to control our internal state. We have the power to wake up and have a great day. We have the power to be grateful for our lives. We have the power to feel joy. We have the power to create an environment of peace. We cannot control our surroundings, but we can control how we arrive in our surroundings and how we respond to them. Once we come to this realization, we just need to switch the channel and change our frequency. To do this, I recommend using a 3-prong approach of self-talk, meditation, and journaling, which, as I actually say that out loud, I realize that yes, communication, meditation, and journaling are pretty much my recommendations for everything, aren't they? I get it. Yes, that's my answer to solve everything, the WD-40 and duct tape of our lives. Communicate, meditate, and journal. Oh, and movement. Yes, that would be, I guess, we can't forget my love of fitness and movement. Communicate, meditate, journal, and move. The secret to a happy and fulfilled life, right? I guess I can stop podcasting there. I've solved the mystery of life. Anyways, all right, so focus on feeling peace. Meditate on what you are grateful for. Journal about what makes you happy and do those things on repeat. Cultivate those feelings inside of you. Use our prompts to journal. Find an app and meditate daily. You know that I am a huge advocate of morning meditation. For me, meditating each morning, literally before I get out of bed, has been life-changing. Focusing on how I want to greet the day, what version of me I want to bring into the day, picturing how I want my day to unfold, starting the day with a feeling of peace and groundedness, going through all that I am grateful for. By doing this, I set the tone for my day. I set my frequency. Lately, I have added in yet another step to the slow open of my mornings. Now, my husband tells me, he makes fun of me. He tells me that my nighttime and morning routines have become like a Broadway show. And I will admit that they are quite choreographed 100%. But you know what? My skin has never been glowier. My muscles have never been looser. My frequency has never been higher. And I would also like to add, as a very quick update, I would like to tell you that I have not choked in a dream once. Not a single time since I started opening my chakras, doing my lion's breath, wearing my lapis stones. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then go back and listen to the Just For Me episode, Keep the Energy Flowing. That was it. And my interview with Samantha Fay on empathy, intuition, and dreams for a full recap of my 25-year journey of choking in my dreams mystery that I amazingly finally solved. Okay, back to my Broadway show. All right, my morning routine, as soon as I get up, I do the 5 roll-up stretches that I've done for years. But before I move on to my meditation, as soon as I finish stretching, so really it's like the very first thing that I actually think after waking up, I say, today was a great day. So many great things happened to me today. Everyone was so happy and got along so well. Everyone had so much fun at whatever they have going on. I was super productive and got everything done that I needed to, blah, 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 things like that. So questions like, why am I so lucky? Why do I have such a great life or happy family, a great job, whatever you want to do to fit your situation. But those are the positive self-talk. Things like, why am I such a great whatever? Great leader, great manager, mom, wife, teacher, podcaster, author, whatever. Or why am I so successful at? Why am I so talented in? Your brain in the morning is super susceptible at that point. And your brain, well, you remember how we said my swings as swings do? Well, our brains think as brains like to do. So when you ask a question like that, it actually gets your brain thinking to formulate the answer. Why am I such a great whatever? Why am I so lucky? Why do I have such a great life? Why do great things always happen to me? When you start asking those questions, your brain starts thinking of the answer. And also, at the same time, it's making the assumption that what you just said is in fact true. So you use self-talk there to set your frequency because you're setting your frequency that you are happy, that you have joy, that you feel peace, that you have a great life, that you are great at what you do, that good things happen to you. You are setting the frequency for your day. And then, of course, I do my morning meditation. Oh, wait, no. And also, I skipped a step. Between the self-talk and the meditation is my family's very favorite act of the morning performance. Oh, how could I have forgotten? Yes, the lion's breath to clear my throat chakra, which is why I don't choke anymore, or one of the reasons. Yes, I get it. It's a bit over the top. I do realize, and I may startle everybody with my routine, and I may get laughed at sometimes, but you know what? Changing your frequency is the first step in getting all of this to work. Okay, so we've seen how this concept that is derived from the hard sciences is understood in the spiritual. So now let's have the conversation about how we can apply it into the social sciences and specifically how we can see it in interpersonal relationships and use it to help to make our relationships and our families more peaceful and happier and higher functioning. Now, you may be a little bit skeptical still at this point because you may think, okay, yes, physics can be seen in things like gravity and space travel. I think those are the places you see physics, right? I don't know. It's not my thing, but not in people. Okay. Or you may be looking at me like how my family does, literally. And I know because yesterday I mentioned my positive self-talk when we were sitting there with my parents and my kids and my husband. And I tried to explain today was a great day to them. And I may as well have said, the sky is purple because that's pretty much how they looked at me. But I do that. I do that with the kids, and they still get confused no matter how many times I do it. I'll be like, okay, go to school. Today was a great day. And they're like, what? What are you talking about? But think about it. How often do you notice that when it's a good day, it is really a good day and things just go right? And how many times have you heard the saying or said, when it rains, it pours, right? Because we all get that. When we have a bad day, it's just one thing after another after another. That is resonance. Same for our relationships. When you can't explain it, but you just click with someone, you get a good vibe from them. Or you just don't like someone because you get a bad vibe or a weird vibe from them. Vibe, vibration, resonance. See? Or you've had the same idea as someone and they say, wow, we're really on the same wavelength. Wavelength, frequency, resonance. See, you hear something that someone says and we say, wow, that really resonates with me. We feel connected to someone when we finish each other's sentences. We love to see dancers who are synchronized and music that is harmonized. All of that is resonance. Sometimes you just really mesh with someone and then you don't, right? Or someone has been around in your life, but you never really clicked until all of a sudden you just do. Maybe one of you just changed frequency because that's exactly what it feels like, right? Nothing has happened and nothing is wrong specifically. You're just not resonating anymore. Remember, we are a part of nature. So the same principles that apply to nature and to the universe, they apply to us too. There's a theory we study in communication studies called similarity attraction theory. And similarity attraction theory says that people like and are attracted to people who are similar to themselves. We often feel drawn to people who have something in common with us, an interest, the same taste in music, the same taste in clothes, who choose the same restaurants or hairstyle or school, who have the same values or the same beliefs, the same interests, whatever. You hear people say, birds of a feather flock together. We are drawn to people who share similar personality characteristics like optimism, self-esteem, responsibility, or things like recklessness, conscientiousness. We want our teens to be friends with kids who have the personality characteristics and the values that we want our teens to have. And especially if they seem to be headed in the wrong way. We want the good features of the good kid to pull those same characteristics out of our teen. Just like we are worried that that bad kid will instead pull those bad features out of ours. We essentially want our teens to change their frequency from the bad kid's frequency to the good kid's frequency. And we do the same. We often share similar personality characteristics with our friends. We are drawn to people who share our positive traits, and we often dislike people who share our negative traits. Similarity attraction supports that old adage that we like people who we think will bring out the best in us. And sometimes we find ourselves disliking interacting with people who do lower our frequency. Like many people, I can totally admit that I can be drawn into and enjoy gossip, or I guess you could say like talking about or bad mouthing people or situations, negative talk. But that is something that I really dislike about myself, and I try to avoid it if possible. I know that some people, when I get around them, they're gossips and they want to talk about everybody bad. And I feel like I get myself drawn into it too. And then after I leave the conversation, I feel so icky inside. It's like because I don't want to be that kind of person. They brought out the worst in me. And now that I feel like I have really kind of made a significant change to my frequency and I'm operating at a higher, more positive frequency, I just don't even want to be around them because I know that they just don't resonate with me anymore. And I know that I am absolutely not alone in how many relationships with people, change over the years, or specifically from pre-COVID to post-COVID, because many of us changed our frequency and certain people in certain situations no longer resonate with us. This is also supported by research that suggests that we are even more motivated to avoid social interactions with people who are dissimilar to us than we are motivated to affiliate with people who are similar to us. That is our dissimilar repulsion, and it is even stronger than similarity attraction. So let's combine these two concepts. How can the law of resonance and similarity attraction theory help our family life? Well, by raising our vibrational frequency and thereby our levels of happiness and love, contentment, and positivity, we can absolutely influence the people that we interact with. Our good energy affects the collective energy of the people around us. When we are walking around emitting toxic energy, think about how everyone in the house responds. How, if one person in your family is in a bad mood, it truly impacts everyone, right? We have spent these last couple of weeks of our shows reinforcing that our family is a social system. And if one person pulls, we all feel it. We are all impacted by all of the other components in our family, just like happens in every other type of system. So, if one member of your family is in a horrible mood, now I'm not going to point fingers or anything, but you all know that your head immediately went to one person in your family. I know it did. And I won't tell your sulky Sal that you immediately thought of them. Anyway, when that person is in a horrible mood, you feel it. Everyone feels it. There's tension at the dinner table. It literally feels as if a black cloud walks into the room. And the air actually feels lighter when they walk out. You may even find yourself matching their mood. Even if you had been feeling fine prior, now you've got the ick too. And you may see the other people in your house matching that ick as well, which just makes it even better, right? It spreads like a cold. Just like when you hear someone upstairs all of a sudden start coughing and you're like, ugh, because you know what that means. It's just a matter of time and you'll be coughing. Everyone will be coughing. Same thing. Negativity spreads. So, if it is possible for one person's low frequency to affect the family to lower everyone's collective frequency, it is also possible for one person's high frequency to raise everyone's collective frequency. It will not be a one-shot deal. But if the overall vibe of your house is low, change your frequency and you can influence the people in your house to raise theirs too. Personally, what I have found that works in my house, other than the daily routine to keep my vibrations high, when someone is clearly in a mood, which totally happens, I literally ignore it. I go about things as if they weren't there, emitting their toxicity. Typically, I just end any conversation that I'm trying to have with them when I realize they're snapping or crabby or they yell or they're just, ugh. I quiet down for just a bit, usually while I'm trying to recenter and practice the pause before I react. And then I carry on as if their foul mood wasn't there. I will go back to being my cheerful, positive, upbeat self, totally having normal interactions, even if I do have to just kind of push myself through it with whoever else happens to be around. And if I try to interact with sulky Sal here and there, which I will, not too much, of course, though, just enough to let them know that their mood has not affected me. When I do talk to them, I talk just as if the crabby or back talk or yelling or snappiness or whatever hadn't happened. It is hard to do. I know, totally. Especially when all you want to do is snap at them or yell back or sulk yourself, but you need to stay the course. Remember, sulky Sal doesn't waver. He stands strong in his toxicity, right? It was that determination and perseverance that brought your whole family's collective energy down too. So if you want to raise it, you need to have that same level of commitment to the high vibrations. Bring the good energy in and others will respond. It might not and will not be right away, but they will. It's kind of like when your teen was back a baby and they'd be crying. If you were calm and happy and relaxed and peaceful, they got calm and happy and relaxed and peaceful. But more likely than not, if you were like me, you were tired or stressed or emotionally exhausted, and you both just fed into each other, right? They got more upset, and then you got more upset, and they got more worked up, and so you got more worked up, and it turned into a disaster, right? I mean, it's actually very similar to interacting with teens, right? And then, of course, someone, maybe your husband or your mom or a friend or a sitter or someone would walk in and take the baby, and the baby would stop crying, calm down immediately, right? Nothing made you feel worse. Why? How did you do that? It felt like they were loved more or that they were better at this mom thing than you were. Of course, it wasn't. In actuality, they were calm. They were peaceful. They were positive. Their energy brought the baby's energy up to match, whereas your energy, or at least mine, was icky, which brought the baby's energy to icky too. Now, same thing with our teens. Works the same way. We see the same things now. You watch them interact with someone else and you watch them with envy. You're like, why aren't they like that with me? And once again, it makes us feel like shit and think that the other person must be better. They must like the other person more. Or why don't they do that with them and not me? Again, it's the energy. The person is not better than you. They don't like them more than you. Their energy just raises your child's frequency. And for the second part, remember, people are drawn to people who are similar to them. So when you do see this happen with your teen and someone else, why is that? What did they have in common? Because there is something. And if you can find things in common with your teen, they'll see it too. From the tangible things like an activity or an interest, something like that in common that you like to do or have or see, to the intangible, like a personality characteristic. Find the genuine similarities between you and foster them. I know that you have positive personality characteristics in common. Maybe it's your dedication or your work ethic. Whatever. Do things that highlight those characteristics about yourself. And don't forget the flip side, the dissimilarity repulsion. If they see you as possessing a characteristic that they dislike about themselves, they're going to pull away even more. But you need to be aware that how you come into the situation, how you exist in the relationship, and how you give off energy, it affects everyone around you. Now, I absolutely know that it is not possible to fix all situations with a good thought, and I don't expect you to. But once you have cultivated an internal state of positive energy, even when you are faced with the negative, you'll find that you have a much easier time returning to that centered positive frequency. It will have become your default. Sure, the frequency may change when you encounter a certain person or a situation or an attitude, but you'll practice the pause. And in that pause, you can choose to return to your center and react from that space of positive peace. Thank you so much for listening. I truly appreciate you spending this time with me. Please remember to follow the show so you don't miss out on any new content. If you enjoy the show, please share it with your friends who might also benefit from or enjoy it. That's how we will grow our community. And if you might consider, I'd love if you went in and rated it 5 stars, obvi, and write a review because that will help others to find us too. Reach out to me on socials, on Instagram and TikTok at Reframing Me. And on Facebook, it's Reframing Me. And join the Facebook group, Reframing Me, the podcast community, to connect with other women who are also raising teens and rediscovering themselves. Until next time, be well, communicate, and practice the pause.